Today, I became fully aware how difficult trading is. What makes it difficult is me. I'm not prepared. What makes it difficult? It's because of me. If I was a perfect conduit or a perfect individual who's able to trade well, then trading will be easier because I will be able to easily absorb it. But because I'm not made up of somebody who's capable of trading well. That's why it's so difficult. I am not capable. It is essentially like it is essentially a uh, it is essentially like a worm trying to live in a human society, doing the things that a human being does. That's how difficult it is for me as a trader. I just realized how difficult trading is to me today. I just realized that today. It is so difficult. It is so difficult. and and the fact here's the situation, okay? I've already forgiven these two siblings who essentially murdered me, right? They essentially murdered me, right? Here's why I say that they murdered me and why I'm in this situation. But I already forgive them, so I can't go back and change or I can't change anything that's already I can't change anything that has already been taking place. So the reality is, and it just boils over, uh, it just boils over on my from me because you know I, I I am essentially a victim of trying to help my parents at the same time losing my job while trying to help them, right? And then after the years of taking care of the house, taking care of my parents, both parents, both parents, and they wanted to evict me because of this incident that occurred many years ago. Uh, and because these two are vicious in attacking me, right? And I was oblivious to this because I was trying to help them out. I was trying to help my parents out at the cost of my own family, my own kids, and my own job. I did that. So in order for me to remain in the house, I got control over the house, and I took care of my father and my father's estate. Because of their hatred, uh, many years later, after I left the house, because I was evicted out of the house that I was in, because of such a turmoil, I couldn't think straight, and I'm not bright either in the first place. So I exited because there were like three sheriffs who were trying to evict me out of my own house, but I didn't even know about it. Okay, I completely forgot that I had the title of the house. I don't know. So uh, many years later, as I was working, uh, then I was like sued in the civil case. I was sued in the civil case, and then every penny that I made as an engineer, uh, the lawyer kept all of it, right? And they knew exactly what's going on because as they delayed, every penny that I had was spent on spending money on this attorney, right? So I was penniless by the time the civil hearings was closed. And then after they took everything in the civil court, they took the house, they took so and then they charged they they forced me to pay my father's estate, even though I was paying his medical bills with his estate, right? They wanted me to pay for everything. So I essentially paid for my father's burial and my father's medical bills, right? And I was taken to a criminal court. In the criminal court, they gave me a 10-year probation. I was what, 51 years old at that time. I was 51 years old, at that time, and they gave me a 10-year probation, which means that for the next 10 years, I have a criminal record called a felony. And that means I cannot get a job. That means when I'm 61 years old, I'll be 61 years old. So I can't get a job when I'm 16 years old. So essentially, they essentially ruined my life, ruined my children's life, okay? And erased any future that I have. And they knew specifically what they're doing. They knew. See, they kept everything. They kept the house. They kept my father's estate, which I'm paying for right now. And specifically, my mother stated that each will get 1/3 of it, right? But it's been almost 6 years now, right? So they knew when they were talking with the prosecutor, do you really want to do this to your sibling, right? He probably asked them, do you really want to do this to your sibling? You're essentially murdering him, right? You're giving this guy a 10-year probation for something that his mother gave him, and you're suing them. And because you lied, I'm having to deal with the situation. And they get everything. They got everything, right? I took care of my parents at my own expense, okay? I took care of my parents at my own expense, because I was the only person who was there, who was able-bodied, who was near them, right? One sibling was in California. One sibling is paralyzed. So paralyzed halfway. So I was the only one I was taking care of them. So here, this is the crazy part, right? This is how crazy God has made this. God has made it like this. I lost everything. And I'm sitting here. And I'm sitting here under that circumstance, right? They kept everything. They gave him everything. And everybody in the world thinks that I'm the criminal. They think that everybody in the world, because I could not go there, because they're lies. The lies that they said will stick in court. They'll say that, and their lies will stick. Okay? They were each, anything that's over $1,000 is 25 years in prison. It's a felony. If somebody steals $1,000, and they're saying that because I stole my father's estate, they're saying that, right? I was a power of attorney of my father while I was taking care of them at my own expense of losing my job, right? And then my mother, I told her I need to be near her, but these two are making it difficult. So in order for me to stay there, I have to have the title to my name so I can stay there. They can't evict me. But they did, right? So essentially, they got everything. They got everything. Even the people around in Boise think that they're heroes because they convicted a very, very heinous criminal. All the while, I was the one who was taking care of them. This is how crazy the world is. This is why when I think of these Democrats who are telling lies, these lies will destroy a person's life. It'll ruin somebody's life. It will. And it did me, right? So I'm trying to deal with it, but add to that, I forgave them, right? I forgave them. Whatever they did, they're effing nuts. They're nuts. Okay, they're crazy. Okay, those two are. Think about this. Think about this. In the civil court, my mother said, "Hey, look, you have to share this 1/3." On that, for that reason, they took everything from me. Right? They took everything. But 5 years has passed. There was no distribution of her and father's estate. Right? So I'm having to pay everything. So here's the situation. They got everything. They got everything. They got 100% of everything. I got nothing. I spent my back, tears and blood, helping my parents, right? Driving them around, getting food for them, right? Carrying them around, giving their baths and all that stuff, taking to the hospital and that stuff, and then I buried them. All that hospital bill, I paid. I was the one who paid. I paid it, okay? But I could not say anything because if I fought, there was a chance that I could be in prison for some time. I could not risk that. And so I had to do it. But they knew specifically that they were doing this to me. So when I'm 61 years old, the probation will be over, right? 61 years old, probation will be over, and the criminal record will be expunged at that point. They'll remove it, right? But for the next 5 more years, I can't get a job, and I can't do anything, right? I can't do anything. I can't. I can't get a job. I'm currently 56 years old. I can't get a job. I should have been working and making money, but I can't do it right now. I can't. I'm prohibited by law, right? And so here I am, under that circumstance. You know how? There's a word for this. It's like one word that pops up is like unfair, but it's like there's more than being unfair. It's like egregiously unfair, right? It's and I am a Catholic. I believe in God, but it's happening to me, right? So I keep referring to this guy Job, and I can see what he's going through. All right, so I lost everything, but I ate. I was the one who was taking care of both of my parents, but people on the outside thinks I'm the devil. They think that I'm the devil. I'm the evil person. But I was the one who was taking care of my parents. Okay? Now that's the first part. So here's the part. Okay, so I did all the work. Okay? But I get blamed by everybody who thinks I'm the evil person, right? Okay? Because they lied. Okay? All because I went to India, contracted tuberculosis, and somehow I was in their house, and so somehow they contracted tuberculosis or something. I don't know. Okay, and they said that I did on purpose sometimes. So they're saying that I purposely went to a guy's wedding. Okay, so after that they went nuts. They think they think that I did that on purpose or something. So I went to India on purpose to go to a friend's wedding, and then so that I can bring back tuberculosis to spread it to everybody. That's what these nutty people think, right? So my kids are gone. Okay. Because the whole Boise area thinks I'm the devil. And so, just like those ICE people, they know you. They know you, and they'll treat you like crap. They'll tell you, "Hey, I'm gonna kill you." That's what they said. That's the kind of things that they say, because they believe that I'm essentially they think that I'm like devil incarnate, right? But I'm a Catholic, okay? And whatever I did, it was in the best interest of my family and my parents. After that, but everybody thinks that I'm like evil or something like that, right? So that's the background that I'm sitting in, right? And then, that's not that. See, if things are going well, I don't mind it. Okay, I don't mind losing one of my eye. Okay, I don't mind that at all, right? I don't mind that at all. But the most painful thing is this. Here's what the most painful thing is, okay? So I took care of my parents for years, okay? And because I was taking care of my elderly parents, I lost my job, not once, but a couple times, right? I lost my job at Micron because I couldn't. I had to spend time with my parents. I had to take care of them. So I couldn't go there and stick there and work 24/7 to figure things out, but I couldn't do that. I had some obligation with the church, and so I had to spend some time with the church too, right? So I took care of them, all right? And in the course of me staying there, I was in charge of my father. And then in order for me to stay there, so I had a house. Then they evicted me out of my own house. Okay, that's one, right? And then I in the civil court, it just drained all my money. The civil court drained every penny that I had, right? They knew what was going on, so they drained it. They essentially did. I don't know if they worked with my attorney or something, but the guy was smiling. The guy was laughing too, right? This guy, this civil attorney that I had, he didn't even show up for court, okay? He didn't even show up for court. I couldn't do anything because I can't get another attorney, right? So this, oh man, that evil mofo, I'll tell you what, those attorneys, whoa, see, if they take the money, it's expensive. That's one thing, but they're actually working for the others to extract as much money as possible. That is an evil, that's an evil civil attorney, right? So in one hand, they took all the money, right? And then they moved it into criminal court. In criminal court, they They threatened my life. He says, hey, look, if you don't agree to this, we're going to put you away for 50 years. We're going to put you in prison for 50 years. What am I supposed to do? I'm just like, okay, so then I'm thinking now after 5 years, I'm thinking, well, this felony stuff is really it's a very serious thing. Okay, this felony is a very serious thing. It ruins a person's life. It ruins family members too, because they don't want to associate with me because they believe that I'm a criminal and everybody else thinks that I'm a criminal, even though they're all wrong. As God as my witness, they're all wrong. But I don't know. Look at the Bible. Look at Job. God was like participating in this kind of thing, right? So it does happen. So I could be dead. My eye would be gone and all that stuff, and I could be a faithful Catholic. But God does it anyway. It doesn't matter, right? God does that. I can pray all I want. Okay, I can pray I want, but God does whatever he wants to do, okay? Even though I am as innocent as possible, right? Okay. But I forgive them. And I never want to associate with them ever again, okay? I hope to, I'm crossing my heart here. Hope to die. I pray I never run into them ever again, okay? I forgave them, so it's all done now, okay? So that's that. And I hope that I never see them. They can keep all that money, whatever they want to do, okay? They can keep it. They can keep it, whatever they want. It's forgiven. I hope that I never see them ever again. I pray I never see them ever again, okay? Now, that's it. What is even worse is this, okay? What is even worse is this. This morning, I had this 10K funding pips platform challenge that I've been working for about 1 month. And what I would do is I would go up, down, up, down, up, down for about 1 month. Okay, but I was able to keep it alive for 1 month. Okay, I was profitable, drop down, and I worked my way up, drop down, things like that. So I was able to keep it for 1 month. Okay, and I thought, wow, look, I'm making progress. I'm like, I was able to extend it for 1 month. And then this morning it started to like crumble, okay? One loss just created a cascade and avalanche effect that caused me to like get in on, it happens quite often. It gets me in tilt, okay? And so one loss on UJ, one lot, it just moved against me, and I couldn't do anything. I just sat there and go, oh my God, what's going on? And it's just moving against me. It just kept moving, and I couldn't do anything. I just couldn't do anything about it. But it kept moving against me, and then finally, it's like 1.23% later, I close it out, and I go, oh my God. And then I looked at it and I go, oh wow, that's a doozy. I should have immediately, when I entered, it made $1. Okay, it made $1, and as soon as it did, it just started to go down. So essentially, what I did was I high ticked it, and it just went down. Okay, so that was the first part. Okay, then it created a cascade of losses after that. U.S. market opened, and I traded 4 more times and lost about 3 more percent, totaling about 4%. I lost about 4%. I'm scratching. I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? Why did I trade so big, and why did I do that? Because I just completely lost my head. I'm just like, what happened? Why did it happen? Right? Why did it happen? So then I go to work and then come back, and then in 5 minutes I take 2 trades and I lose like more than 5%, which essentially because I was essentially during the day I lost about 9% during just today, right? 9%. It's all based on this avalanche effect of this loss, right? So what hurts most is this. I am sabotaging my own welfare. I am sabotaging my own welfare. I'm sabotaging my own account. Okay, I'm essentially sabotaging my own efforts to do something. I'm like, that's what's more painful. because for the past 5 years, while I'm on probation, the first half of 5 years, while under probation, I was learning something. So I thought I learned something about it. And it's very, very simple of doing certain trades in a certain way. But somehow the mind just goes off. It switches off for some reason. It started this morning. I don't know what happened, but it just turns off. It switches off. It's like somebody came over and just switched it right off. And I started trading like crazy. I don't know how to explain it. And then what makes it so difficult? What makes it so frustrating? What makes it incredible? What makes it so incredibly frustrating is this. Yeah, what happened to me in the past, I forgave, so it's all good. I will never deal with them ever again. And they probably did that to me, knowing that they'll never ever see me again, right? These two siblings, right, came out of the same womb. Okay, they did this to me, but and what did they what? So I could talk about it again, but they got everything. Just long story short, they got everything, right? They have everything. I did everything. Okay, I got nothing. I lost my kids. Okay, but they got everything. They have their own family. They got everything, right? I am the one. Now the whole world thinks that I'm a criminal too, right? But they got everything, right? So what makes it amazingly frustrating is this. Okay, what makes it amazingly frustrating is while I'm doing this, because this is the only way for me to lift myself up. This is the only way to lift myself up. But I can't do it because I'm hurting myself. I am against my own self. I can understand why other people are against me, but I can't understand that why I'm against myself. Why am I against myself? Why am I trying to hurt myself doing this? Especially today, I realize this. It's a self-sabotage to the nth degree. It's like within 5 minutes, and I won't do anything. It's like I have to make sure when I make a trade, I'm entering a trade correctly. Okay? I have to spend the time analyzing things. I have to draw things out. I have to do this, but I just jumped in there for no reason. No reason at all. That's what makes it so difficult for me to that's why it makes it so difficult for me for me right now. This trading thing is so it is I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot of things that are going on that's very, very difficult. This building is right next to the highway, which means that all the gas fumes will flood into this area, the parking lot and everything. And so because I'm homeless, I have to sleep in my car. So when I sleep in my car, I can't sleep with the doors open because there will be a carbon dioxide buildup, and so it'll cause brain damage. But what we'll do is if I open the door, carbon monoxide. So there's carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide from the cars will enter into the car while I'm sleeping, and so I'm breathing it. So essentially, I'm having the CO and the CO2 entering into my system, and it's probably like it is probably dismantling my brain as I'm trying to do this. So I don't know what I did. Okay, I don't know what I did, but I'm trying to lift myself up. Okay, I'm trying to lift myself up. Okay, I'm not looking out for a handout either. I'm trying to do this, but the worst part of trading is me. Okay, the worst part, the most frustrating part about trading is me. The worst part. Okay, the worst part about trading is me, because all I have to do, and I can see it. I can see it in most cases. Sure, I'm going to be wrong, but I can see it in most cases. And I need to be able to make sure that when I make a trade, I have the ability to survive. Okay? And so when I analyze things, I need to analyze it first. But I don't do that for some reason. That's the most frustrating part about trading. It is the most frustrating part about trading. Okay? Is the most frustrating part about trading is me. You can look at it. You can look at. I guess hindsight is 2020. I can see what's going on, right? I can see that, but you can generally tell how based on the you can based on what's happening to the left side of the charts. Generally, what's going to happen on the right side of right side of the chart, and so I should be able to trade well. I should be able to see it well. And the problem is, I am unable to recognize it, even though I know it. Even though I know it, I cannot recognize it. It looks good. I can see it. I can see it, but I cannot process it right. Okay? Something is loose in there. Something either the CO2 or CO1 is impacting my brain. I already forgave those miserable siblings, right? Who essentially murdered me, essentially, right? I was 50 years old, but because of that felony probation, I'm gonna be 61 years old before I can do anything. But by the time I'm 61 years old, I can't get a job. There's no way to get a job, right? There's no way because I'm too old. Nobody hires a 61-year-old to do an engineering job. They hired like 20-year-olds to do the engineering job, and 61-year-old cannot compete with a 20-year-old because the work that the 20-year-old do is just busy work, okay? And they'll outwork a 61-year-old doing that kind of stuff, right? Because obviously, I lost one of my eye, right? I can't. It's as simple as that. So the most frustrating part about trading, it's not that I did all the work. I took care of my parents. I sacrificed two jobs. My kids has left me, right? And my ex-wife for the second time came over, which we're trying to make this work out, but I couldn't do it. Okay? And I have a probation. I can't do anything. It's not that. Of course, these siblings who took the civil attorney took all the money that I ever made, right? Took everything, and then they know it. Now I'm in a criminal. These siblings know it, but they kept everything. Okay, they kept everything. They got everything. They got everything. I did all the work. They got everything. Right? But the most frustrating thing about trading right now is 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 me. Okay, it's me. Maybe it's the CO2 and CO1 CO or something. CO and CO2 is causing this brain because like today I was just sitting there. I made a trade. It's going against me, but I'm sitting there. I'm watching it. I'm just watching it. I'm not doing anything. I don't know why. I can see it. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the buildup or something. I don't know what's going on, but I have no idea what's going on. So I made a trade and I put a big size on there, and it just doesn't. It just didn't even occur to me. It just, and then it started on a cat. Okay, so that's what's going on. Okay, that's what's going on. It's frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating. Okay, it's it's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating, but I can't do anything else. Okay, I can't do anything else. But here's the more frustrating part. I know that I am incapable of doing this. I know that I'm incapable from what I've seen so far. I get on tilt and I don't know how to control this tilt. Okay, and I've been working on this for 5 years. 5 years. I wasted 5 years of my life trying to figure this out. Based on this 5 years, I know that there's a lot of smart people out there. I'm probably one of the I'm not bright at all. I'm not smart. I'm not. I don't know how I was able to survive this long. Okay, I don't know how. I to be honest, I have no idea how I survived this long, let alone have two kids and things like that. I don't know how I got here. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it's the gas fumes that are just causing my. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm just totally. I'm totally. Okay. You know the what? See the thing is one of the most dangerous occupation is a day trader. Why is it the most dangerous occupation? Because it'll mesh with your mind. I mean, it messed with my mind. Okay, it'll just eat away. I mean, it'll just eat away. It'll just the losses that I have, the challenges, the number of times, the number of times that I fall down and pick myself up and do something. It is, and I know that everybody else is laughing because they know how difficult it is, right? They know how difficult it is. They know how difficult trading is, right? They know. People see. Okay, so that's currently what's going on. But uh, what I noticed is this. Okay, so trading is not about the money; it's about consistency, right? I was on my way to go to Winco to get some milk. Okay, and what I thought about is this: trading is about consistency. It's not about the money. If I chase the money, then I'm not understanding what's important. What is important is consistency. When I build up a consistency, then the money will flow in automatically, right? Until then, I shouldn't be chasing money. I need to be chasing consistency. That's what I need to do. I need to be chasing consistency. All right. Okay. So this is rant. This is. I'll tell you what. These siblings, what they did to me. Well, those are evil siblings. See, here's the crazy part. Here's the one of the most heinous thing to do is destroy a person's life while an innocent person destroy an innocent person's life and his whole family and all that stuff, right? While benefiting, while benefiting from all the other people and financially as well. That's the most heinous thing that they could do, and they did that. So most likely what they did was the prosecutor probably asked them, "Hey, do you really want to do this? Right? Do you really want to do this to your sibling?" Okay? If you force him with a 10-year probation, he's not going to get a job. Okay? He probably spent all his money on civil attorneys already. Okay? And when he's 61 years old, even after this probation is over, he won't be able to get a job. You will essentially destroy his life, okay? While they're keeping everything. Probably the prosecuting attorney probably told them that. Do you really want to do this to your sibling? Okay? That's what they probably asked him. They probably say, "Oh yeah, he's the most evil human being he's ever met," right? These lies. Because they have to keep saying that because they've already said it. They cannot go back on what they said. They have to keep up their lies in order to move forward. And the prosecutor asked them, do you really know what you're doing? Do you really want to do this to your sibling? Do you? Do you really want to do that to your sibling? Right? Do you want to charge him with like elderly abuse and things like that, even though he take care of them, right? Anyway, so I suppose this is called the 5-year rant. Okay, this is the 5-year rant. And what bugs me, I suppose if they didn't do that, maybe I would talk about my kid. Okay, it's almost 12 o'clock, and I've spent everything. I don't have any money now. I have no money. I cannot trade. I can't do anything. Maybe God is saying, "Hey, it's time to take a break." I don't know what it is. Maybe God is saying it's time to take a break. It's time to break. Okay, God is telling me to take a break, I suppose. He's saying I need to take a break. Take a break, right? Take a break, Key. Take a break. All right? Take a break. I don't know what you're going to do during the break, right? What? What are you going to do? Go in your car and sleep? That's what you want to do? God is giving me a break. Go out in your car and get some sleep. Is that what you want me to do? And take in some CO2 and CO1, okay? CO. Oh, boy. Ah, this is called the rant. Okay, I'm sure. When I read the Bible, now Job doesn't back talk about God, right? Job probably doesn't back talk about God. He just, oh, why is this happening to me? He doesn't say, oh God, God, you God. He doesn't say that. So he's going, hey, why is this happening to me? Why? What's going on? Right? And all his friends are blaming him, pointing fingers. Boy, you're the evil one. You're the heinous one. You deserve it. That's what they're saying, right? But in reality, what's going on? What I've discovered recently about looking into these Democrats is that Democrats, they tell lies and they don't say anything. They say something like, the shooting in Minneapolis. So, oh, a man murdered by ICE, but they don't talk about the other details behind it. So they do that. It's crazy. And so you take that into court and they'll charge you with 50 years of prison time. Now that's the other scary part. Okay, that's the other scary part. Okay. Anyway, so this is I suppose. See when, if by chance these siblings watch what I'm doing here, they're gonna be laughing. Ah, we got you. Oh man, we got you good. That's what they're saying. All right. So when I left that house, they were laughing. So when they evicted me, they started laughing. I mean, before the civil court and criminal court occurred, they were laughing at me. They they knew what they're doing. They laughed and laughed and laughed. They laughed. Okay? They laughed at me. They they I mean they laughed. They laughed. It's like I can hear them. They were demeaning me. They were, even though I did all the work, okay? At the expense of losing two jobs, okay? One at Micron, one at one of those. I was working locally with another company here, but I had to take care of my kids. I had to take care of my father, so I couldn't go to Salt Lake City to install these salt blocks. I couldn't do that. Okay, so I can just remember them. I can see their teeth when they're laughing. They were laughing hysterically. They were they were laughing so hysterically. They were doing this to me. They were hurting me, their own sibling, and they were laughing. They laughed, even though they know that they were destroying my life. They were laughing. Okay, even though they're telling lies and cheating and stealing, they laughed at me. Right? They laughed and laughed and laughed. All right. But what can I do? And what can I do about that? Right? What can I do? I'm like powerless. I'm not even bright. There's nothing I can do. Okay, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing. They can laugh and they can steal and cheat whatever I had, and they could falsely convict me in a criminal court and give me a 10 years of probation that essentially ends my life. And then because of that, my kids are gone, but I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do about it, right? There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. God knows, but he's not doing anything about it, okay? There's nothing he can do about it. Nothing. There's nothing I can do. Nothing. They laughed and laughed and laughed. I'll tell you what, okay? What do you do? There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Nothing, right? But what is most painful is my inability to help myself in trading. Okay, what is really, really, really painful? It's not that laughter. It's not that laughter that was like, it's not those two laughing, okay, hysterically at me. It's not that. Okay, those are gone. That's gone. Okay, whatever they're doing, it's their problem. It's not the hysterical laughing that they gave me while I was like, I can see why they're laughing, right? I can see that. I took care of my parents, okay? I lost two jobs taking care of my parents for years. I couldn't spend time with my kids, right? Because I was taking care of them, right? So I was trying to make this work with my ex-wife, but she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. I couldn't talk to her, okay? I could not. Okay, all this is happening, right? I can see that. I can see why they're laughing. Because they knew that I was stupid. They knew that I was stupid. I was trying to help my own parents at my own health and expense. Okay, I was taking care of them. I can see why they're laughing, hysterically laughing, and they were still probably hysterically laughing where they're talking to the prosecutor. They say, "Hey, get this guy. Sure, he's a sibling, but we don't give a crap out of him, right? Give him the maximum, right? Give him the maximum." All right. Here's what the prosecutor said. Here's what a felony will do to this guy, right? You sure you want to do that to him? You sure? They said, ha ha ha, yeah, go for it. Anyway, okay, so, but what is most painful is this, okay? What is most painful is this, okay? What is most painful is today. I can feel it. It's today. Because I'm unable to help myself. I'm unable to help myself. I see it. I need to do something, but I refuse to do it. I just don't understand it. I'm seeing my challenge going towards breach, and I cannot do anything about it. I won't do anything about it. That's the most frustrating part. I can see why they're laughing. I can see why they were laughing. I can see that. I can see why they were hysterically laughing because I could not help myself. I could not. And this is a prime example of today. How I can lose this challenge. I don't see. Okay, so what's the commonality? Okay, what's the commonality? See, I can't do anything about what they did. Okay, but I can do I have control over me. Okay, I have control over me. And someday when my kids understand these things, hopefully when my kids understand life, and then they shut me out. They shut me out because I was going through some really difficult situation here. I was living in a homeless shelter. I was like, I'll tell you what, I was like so devastated. Okay, they were saying, we're going to get you for 50 years in prison. It'll essentially, the brain was split open. Okay, the brain was literally split open when somebody tells you, we're going to get you for 50 years in prison. And I'm 51 years old. You know what that means? If they do that, I'll be in prison and be dead in prison. When that happens, the mind will just literally split. Okay? And it takes years to get it all rearranged. Until then, you're just walking like a zombie because you don't understand. You're just walking around like a zombie, okay? That's what happens for like many, many years because your brain has been, it's like traumatized. That's why this prosecutor and my own criminal attorney, boy, these are really bad people. They're really, really bad people. My own prosecutor, that's a really, really bad person right there, okay? These two attorneys, civil attorney took everything, lost everything. Didn't even show up for court. The second one was in league with the other party. This really, really bad civil criminal attorney. That's a really evil criminal attorney. I'll tell you what. I was paying him, but he was working for the other side, right? And he believed everything that they said. Okay? Wouldn't even talk to me about whatever it is. The reason I know is that he goes, hey, they could have gotten you for elderly abuse. What? What elderly abuse? What? I was taking care of I took my father to a nursing home. How do I abuse my father when anyway, okay? When he was living in a senior center, how do you abuse somebody in there when they're there, right? It makes no sense. That guy is an evil dude. Very, very evil dude. So so what happened? Here's the laughter. All this laughter. There's so much laughter going on, okay? Because I am stupid. I'm not smart. I'm not a smart person. But I did everything. I gave myself. I gave of myself financially, okay, of my body to take care of my elderly parents at the expense of my kids, okay? And I spent every penny giving it to my civil attorney and my criminal attorney. I can see why they're laughing, okay? So one day I came back to Boise after living in Orlando after the court was done, okay? Because I was unemployed now because I'm unemployable after agreeing to the settlement. So now I'm unemployed. They fired me because I had this criminal record. And so I moved back to Boise and then I couldn't pay the restitution because it was set while I was unemployed. I was employed, and so then I called the criminal attorney's office to have him go to court with me. Right, so I'm sitting in court. Nobody shows up. All right, nobody shows up. Okay, so before then, I thought they were going to show up. So I called before that happened. Before the court that I called them and say, look, hey, I need to have my attorney there so that because I couldn't pay $1,000 a month because I wasn't making that much the amount that I was making because I was unemployed. I was washing dishes, right? And so I called them up and they passed me around from every attorney. They started laughing while they're talking to me. Each one of them was laughing because they knew how stupid I was and they knew that they could get away with it. And this is one of the craziest part. This guy is an LDS ward or something. Apparently they must be something very similar to what a Catholic deacon is or something like that. But this guy is a very, very evil, truly evil people. Okay? They're evil. They passed me around like 10 lawyers and they started laughing because they knew who I am. All right? They knew. And the guy probably talked to them about how stupid I am, right? So they started laughing. Even my civil attorneys called up I called them up and said, hey, look, this attorney, the criminal attorney didn't show up. So could you talk to him? But on the phone is, oh man, how things turned out, huh? He started laughing. Everybody started laughing, right? They think because I'm so stupid and I gave them all the money and I used my body and my job to take care of my parents. All the while I lost everything, right? I'm the good guy, but I got the shaft end of it. They think that they're so smart. They think that that is so funny. They think that is so funny, treating people that way. They essentially conspired to ruin my life, and now that my life is ruined, they started laughing. They started laughing in my face. They started laughing at me, right? Because they know how funny it is. Because I was an engineer one day working. Before I was working as an engineer, I was taking care of my parents. I was doing all that work. And then because I did all that, because I'm so stupid, I sacrificed my own kids, okay? I couldn't spend time with them, right? Because I was taking care of them. They thought it was so everybody's laughing, right? But that's not it at all. Everybody started laughing. Everyone started laughing, right? But one of the most difficult part is me not being able to help myself is the hardest part. It's the hardest part, right? That's what's making it very difficult. Okay, when I first got here, washing dishes and things like that, it was a very, very difficult adjustment with my brain like split open kind of thing, right? Because of all this trauma of dealing with civil and criminal cases. It is when you realize that they're gonna falsely get you for 50 years in prison, your mind shuts down. It breaks. It physically gets altered. The trauma causes the brain to be in a state of because I'm not eating well, okay? Because I'm staying up and I'm worried, I'm concerned, right? And it's like a buzz. It's like walking around like a zombie. People will say something to you, but you go, huh? Because you just don't because you've gone through such a traumatic situation, and they're still laughing. I can hear them laughing. So my civil attorney started laughing. My criminal attorney, the whole office laughed because they were getting paid, and they're screwing me over, and they're getting paid. What better laughter there is, right? You push somebody down and you start laughing, but only this time you're pushing into the graveyard and bury them, and they start laughing, right? And it doesn't matter if the legal system in Boise, they don't care, right? They should have smelled something. They should have said, "Boy, you can't do that." Something should have Something should have warned them. Look at this. These two siblings are doing this while they got everything. There must be some reason. There's a guy who's been taking care of the criminal record. There isn't any historical criminal record about that either, right? And so, and the person who gave me a misdemeanor for fighting, that was one of the siblings, right? And so that was it. Okay, I had a divorce that occurred two decades ago, and I filed for Chapter 7 and things like that, right? Okay, I don't know. I don't know how to manage my money. Okay, that's how things work. Okay, right? But what the most difficult part is, okay, one of the most difficult part is, like, one of the most difficult part right now is my inability to help myself. That's the most important part. I'm placing a trade, and I place the trade without knowing the consequences of what the trade is. And because I'm detached from the consequences of what's happening, I haven't really thought about what it could be. I haven't really thought about, if I place this trade, it's gonna ruin this challenge. I'm not thinking about that. That's the stupidity, the stupid part about it is, all right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I am essentially I'm thankful. I'm a very stupid man. I am a very, very stupid man. You can't fix stupid. But I'm gonna keep trying it. Okay, I'm gonna keep trying, but you can't fix stupid. You can't fix stupid. Okay, I'm a 50. I'm a 56-year-old man. I have nothing. I have absolutely no money. Nothing. Nothing. My kids left me. My ex-wife. Man, I was trying to make it work. Okay, I was trying to make it work with my ex-wife. I was trying to make it work, but the demands of these elderly, these parents, I all my time was devoted to them. All my time. Me going to church, trying to become a Catholic and all that stuff. It just, a lot of things will mess with your mind. A lot of things. It was a, I guess, waking up to the world is this way, right? I guess waking up and smelling the coffee is this way. It's like, I suppose, okay, so if I were to analyze what Job is, okay, I say I say, see, many different angles of what God is doing to Job is this, okay? God is awakening Job. I believe that's what's happening, okay? In the book of Job, in the book of Job, God and the devil messes with Job and takes everything away, even his health and all that stuff, right? And then all his friends turn on him and says, "Hey, you must have done something. You're an evil human being," kind of thing, right? That's what they say. So the only but he still kept his devotion to God. He still held firm to his faith. Whatever happened, he still held. He believed in God. He held. Whatever happened to him, to his last breath, he held. He held staunchly, to solidly, faithfully to God. Okay, that's what Job did. Okay, but what happened? What happened is, it's a good thing that I'm the only one who's working right now. Okay. See, I'm laughing at myself now, right? Not because I'm stupid. I'm just realizing the situation, right? So here's what's the situation. I believe what's happening is, what's happening is that God, okay, God, with the use of the devil, okay, with the devil, is showing Job, okay, appreciation of what is around him. What is. It's called the appreciation. It's the appreciation of what is around. When somebody gets something so easily, somebody like winning the jackpot, okay, a lottery, many will just punt it away, okay, because they don't appreciate it. They haven't really earned it. They got lucky and they got it in a lump sum, and they'll toss it away with their normal behavior. But with somebody who has acquired and sold and made a company successful from nothing to $4 billion, that person knows the worth of money. And so what seems to be happening is that God has stripped everything away from Job, and Job is essentially left with God, okay? Left with God and himself. Everything has been stripped away, and what is left over is just him and God. But if he but if he cut ties with God, there will be just him, desolation, and complete utter emptiness, right? But with God, he was able to recover. Okay, he was able to recover. Okay, I'm not saying I'm Job. I'm definitely not Job. Okay, Job is smart. He has many good friends. Okay, I only have one or two good friends. Uh anyway, okay, so okay, so I did this FTMO. I can tell I am definitely in tilt. I'm definitely in tilt. Okay, so what I've learned about this exercise for the past week is losing these challenges, losing money. Okay, okay, I could go live and lose money, but I'm losing money with these prop firm challenges. Uh, about $200 now. Okay, I spent about $200 this week. Okay, the loss that I had here. Okay, so what that's telling me is that my size is way too big. My size is just way too big. Okay, obviously it's just way too big. It's not giving me enough. I'm trying to pass it with like two or three trades, but when that happens, I could lose 2 to 3 trades. Okay, in order for me to allow. So what is my edge? My edge is working that specific area where I find it advantageous, statistically profitable on my side. Okay, that's what I need to be working on. With size that's manageable. Okay, even if it moves in the other move in my direction, it'll flip over and goes the other way. Right. So okay, okay. Sometimes what happens is that sure, it's the carbon monoxide and the CO2, okay, around me that's maybe interfering with what's going on. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep this up. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how long this is gonna keep up. I think it's the delusion. I think it's the delirium that's going on right now. I think the intoxication of the CO and CO2 is causing delirium or something. And one of the so this is something that I still don't understand this. So I make a trade, it moves against me, it moves real fast, it's gone. It's like I'm just watching it. I suppose it's called the deer in the headlight look, right? It's the deer and the headlight look. It's the deer and the headlight look, and I can't do anything about it, right? It's the deer and the headlight look. So the moral of the story is they laughed and laughed and laughed. Maybe one day it will be my time to laugh.